Welcome back to Albus Explains. I'm Albus and this is Let's Talk. And the topic for today is Raavan. Raavan the Magnificent, Raavan the Hero, Raavan the Saint, Raavan the Musician, Raavan the Yogi, Raavan the Shiv Bhakt, Raavan the King, Raavan the Monster, Raavan the Murderer, Raavan the Plunderer, Raavan the Rapist, Raavan the Destroyer, Raavan the Molester, Raavan the Blemisher, Raavan the Vile. It is a vikruti or a bad habit of the people of this subcontinent to immediately assume the opposite point of view and work while taking it into consideration. And this has resulted in many fields of philosophy being wrung open due to questions. The people constantly question themselves and ask whether what they think or believe in is right or not, and this leads to greatness of thoughts. But there is a darker side to it. Obviously, I am generalizing a bit, but it works for what I have to say. This vikruti for good man or Sadgun vikruti has resulted in people questioning their very heroes, whether their heroes are worthy of worship or not. Most people do not have the mental fortitude to dig up and understand the deep philosophical reasons for choosing the hero their culture has chosen. Everything need not be learned by everyone, but common communications force people to do it. To save time and effort, a shorthand is developed for the good habits and it is put into a single person. Then simply when that person is followed, the habits accrued will be good. This works in places without Sadgun Vikruti, but alas. Because every curious psyche questions the heroes while arrogantly assuming that they can dissect the philosophy of why that hero is the hero. This results in every question put upon the hero be a charge, as in a court of law. The hero, no longer present to defend himself or herself, has to justify his or her actions, while the people who question it behave like rats, chipping away the charisma and the reasons for his or her actions. Straw man arguments are defeated and the person doing the questioning comes out thinking they've won a great victory over a great man. But it doesn't end there. After this perversion, now not only is the hero not worshipped, but the forces he or she fought against return too. The villains rise as heroes. All their horrific deeds are shown as flaws in characters which supposedly humanizes them and brings them closer to one's heart. This is exactly what happened with Raavan. People seem to have forgotten that Raavan is not a hero. He is neither a victim. He is not a redemptive figure, nor an Icarus-esque figure whose downfall was glorious to see. That self-important fiend was a villain, more cruel than anyone since him. Raavan killed numerous innocent people just because he could to test his might. He spilled urine into yagna kunds and killed the pujaris. He killed the yogis and yoginis who never hurt a single creature. The egocentric fanatic could not bear to see other people worshipping other gods, and so he broke down many temples. To project his might and cuckold the kings and common people alike, he kidnapped and raped so many girls, unmarried, married, widowed by him, everyone. He killed small children in front of their parents. He killed parents in front of their children. He was no hero. He was a sick and egomaniacal monster whose narcissism rose to such Olympian heights towards the end of his life that he could not even see himself igniting his own funeral pyre, even though it was clear as a day to everyone around him. The usual arguments against all this is that he was a yogi, sannyasi, or whatever the word a person chooses to deify him. Alright, he had gifts. He was a brilliant learner, a good astronomy student, and had a sharp mind. He did work very hard for attaining the knowledge and power that he had. He was made a very humble person once, good enough to make Mahadev happy. He even procured the famed Chandrahas, that is the moon sword, from him. And this is where the agreements end. He prayed to Lord Shiva not out of respect but out of fear. Absolute fear of Lord Shiva made him a hardened devotee. He, in his boisterous self, approached the Himalayas and wanted to uproot it, but a mere tap of the toe by Lord Shiva crushed his fingers, and out of his fear for Lord Shiva's power and not love, he authored the Shiv Tandav Stotram. He screamed it out loud, and hence Lord Shiv named him Raavan, the one who screams. I see people, my friends, proclaiming like, I would like a brother like Raavan, so he would protect me and so on. Before I even say anything about it, I ask you all this. Would you like to be compared to Surpanakha? Surpanakha wanted to kill Lakshman and Ma Sita and eat them, and wanted to marry Lord Ram against his wishes. And so she did attack Ma Sita, and in defense Lakshman cut off her nose. Then Surpanakha went to Raavan and told him not of the punishment that she had got, because frankly even she knew that Raavan didn't care for her, but told him that there is a lady, very beautiful, in the forests of Dandak who is travelling with two ascetics. She provoked her own brother's lust that lady should be with him and he should go and kidnap her. Then, driven by that very lust and not vengeful anger, as many would like to believe, did Raavan go for Ma Sita's kidnapping. It makes me sad seeing these women in my life fall for these stupid political dogmas. I ask them this: do they really want to glorify Raavan, a bloody rapist? Oh, but he never touched Ma Sita. He was a person who respected women. He defended his sister's honor. He was the one who took care of them. This defense of Raavan is patently untrue. He never cared for Ma Sita's honor. He only cared for his own life. In truth, he was a lust-filled megalomaniac. He once attacked the Indralok, and during his attack there, he raped an Apsara, who was also his daughter-in-law via his nephew Nalkubar, named Rambha, who was quite damaged after the shocking incident to her abode. She screamed and cried for help, but Raavan had killed almost everyone there. Raavan caught hold of her and forced himself upon her. She was almost unconscious because of the pain and was pleading him to stop, constantly reminding him that she was like his daughter. But her screams fell on deaf ears as Raavan had his way with her, cruelly. In some accounts, he killed her after that by smashing her head. In some accounts, he left her unconscious. When Nalkuber found his wife in this state, he questioned Raavan, who just laughed in his face, tauntingly asked him, "So what?" In his pain, Nalkuber cursed Raavan that he would die. His head would explode if he would bring an unconsenting woman into his bedroom with the intention of raping her. Raavan merely laughed louder. When he came back to Lanka and told about it boastingly to Mandodari, his wife, she too cursed her fate, but because she had nowhere to go, she stayed with him and kept on reminding him about Rambha's curse so that no other woman would have to bear the same fate. This is the sole reason he kept Ma Sita in Ashok Vatika. In fact, it would surprise you to know that in the original Valmiki Ramayana, he was about to do something worse to Ma Sita when she rejected his advances, but he was pulled away by Mandodari by enticing him to a young girl rather. There is another such episode with Vedabati if more proof was warranted. There have been many pages dedicated to telling you facts about Raavan and how brave or parakrami he was. But the truth is, he once lost to Vali, Sugriva's brother, who was later defeated by Lord Ram. He also lost to Kartivirya Arjun, and in that fight, he was humiliated and made a prisoner, not because of Bahu Arjun's ego, but because the narcissistic Raavan became so hot drunk on his own self that he, without thinking, challenged the kingdom of Maheshmati. Yes, it was a real kingdom, whose then king was the 1,000-armed Arjun who easily defeated him. Another interesting fact about his approach of ruling Lanka was his total lack of care. All the gold in his Lanka was of looted origins, and the way the city was run was so lopsided towards the rich Asurs that the roads in his Lanka may have been made of gold, but thousands died of hunger and injustice on those very streets. He never cared for the poor Asurs in his kingdom, among whom he had lived much of his own childhood. All he knew was plunder, even of his own people. Let me ask you this. If he was as brave as he felt he was, why did he send his brothers and children to die before him? Why didn't he himself fight Lord Ram alone when it was suggested to him? Why did he kick out his younger brother when Vibhishan loved Raavan and only wished for his well-being? Raavan was, without a doubt, a crazy individual hell-bent on killing everyone against him, and we should feel immense gratitude towards Lord Ram for killing him and making the world Raavan Mukt. This is also the reason why a billion Hindus worship Lord Ram. A person who likes Raavan and hates Ram can unfollow me, because I will not allow misinformed or ill-intentioned people to ruin my culture by derogating the tallest figure only to replace him with the scum of the earth. It makes me personally angry when people do not recognize the beauty of our culture and question it wantonly. Only if the harms and negative side of the questioning everything aspect was acknowledged, the Vikruti acknowledged by the mind, a lot of trouble could be saved. People must realize why their heroes are their heroes and why we burn the likes of Raavan. A mind should be open to have new things seeded into it, but it should not be so open that the brain falls out. Thank you.